Okay, so I guess if you're ready, I'm ready. Recording. Here we go. Welcome to the Hunted Podcast. If you are listening to this, make sure you go listen to our other episodes that we got going on. And then while you're there, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps us out. Let us know kind of what, if you guys are enjoying this. If you're not enjoying this, enjoying it. And then, we can go through and tell sponsors and things that, that what we're putting out is something they are enjoying and getting their name out and everything else. But if you want to see what me and Levi are up to, you can go ahead and follow us on the Hunted Podcast. On Instagram, we are the hunted _podcast. And then if you want to go through and see us and see all the other podcasts and stuff that we have put on, you can go through and look us up on the Hunted Podcast on YouTube. So we're going to go through here and jump right into it with our sponsors that we've had for, since we started this, and we absolutely are more than grateful and we absolutely love it. We had Rec Broadheads, who here, hopefully in a few weeks, turkey season's coming. I'm going to go through and take some FX4s. I'm going to try to put it right through some vitals of some birds, and hopefully we can get some good footage for you guys. Maybe have them doing some backflips and coming in and scrapping on the old decoys and all that good stuff. And then we got Wild Oak Whitetails Buck Lure. If you've listened to all the other ones we've had before, it's the same old spiel, man. Corey is awesome. Go through and go get a hold of him. Go make sure you follow him and everything. Let him know that you found us, or found him through us. And, he's been really good about being up to date when his deer or his bucks are, oh my goodness, I'm having a tongue twister already. When he's going through and his does are going into heat and everything like this, about, getting bottles shipped out to his dealers and everything else and things like that. So make sure you go follow him. Dominant Strands, same thing, man. Lewis is awesome. Can't talk to this guy enough. Seems like, a couple times, a month. So we're always chit-chatting on, what's going on and just keeping in touch. Super good dude, man. Very happy to have him there. ECW hunting calls. We're going to be using some of those here before too long that Jeff made. Got a box call we got sitting out here in front of us, a slate call, but Jeff doesn't just limit himself to the turkey side. Make sure you go check him out if you're looking for, snow goose calls, regular goose calls, buck calls, anything and everything. Make sure you go check them out, ECW hunting calls. And then Marath Welding, he's my buddy Evan, which, like I said, if you've heard already, you've already heard me go on spiels about how he's a great guy, always chasing that dollar, man. He is a workaholic, some people say, but when you're that good, your phone don't stop ringing. So make sure you go through and check him out and give him a call if you need anything welded together. And then we got National Land Realty, which I know nothing about. I just know that from what Levi's telling me, that they took a chance and they kind of, let him join the team, which is awesome and great. So make sure you go through, check them out. They've got podcasts on there. Is it just kind of like up to date with like what's going on with like the market and everything?
Yeah, they've got a little bit of everything going on. Pretty much cover any topic you can think of, with land and buying land and hunting and agriculture, anything. They cover a little bit of it all.
That's awesome. And then finally, last but definitely not least, Nature Made Jewelry. You guys are probably a little slow this time since we went out and put in some miles and we didn't find nothing for you guys to go through, start carving out, did we?
Yeah, it was definitely a rough shed season so far. Hopefully gain a little more ground with turkey season.
Yeah,
find some there, but
never know. But yeah, most definitely go through and check out Levi and his wife on there. Their stuff it's awesome. It's all handmade. It's real. I guess I'd say like fancy country, I guess. I got something for my wife. She absolutely loved it, and I know I'm going to get some more stuff. So, but one more time, if you haven't found any of them, make sure you go check them out on social media and make sure that you let them know that the way that you found them was through Levi and I. We greatly appreciate that. Again, it goes through and lets our sponsors know that we're putting their names out there. We're letting, you guys know about how great and awesome they are, and their products are good and all that amazing, wonderful stuff. So, it really does help us out. And then we got the home stretch here. So we do not have a first responder, thank you and everything like that, or military shout out. So we're just going to, one more time, if you are a first responder or are married to a first responder, have a child as a first responder, same thing with the military. If you, family member, know somebody, good buddy that's, as a first responder, military person, we want you to make sure that you go through and tell them thank you from yourself, from us. 110%, especially nowadays, you can't turn on the TV without seeing something negative involving, sadly, police officers and things like that. Some of that stuff's kind of fallen over into firemen, fallen over into paramedics and things like that. So it's 100%. They don't hear that enough. There's been attacks on the military and things with changing like that. I mean, like them, don't like them, at least these people, we need to go through and continue to let these people know that we do greatly appreciate them, because if you think that our world is crazy right now, it would be 1,000 times worse if they were not here going through and keeping the chaos, under control. So make sure you go through and tell them thank you from yourself, and tell them thank you from Levi and I. We truly do greatly, 100% want to say thank you to them. So with that being said, we're going to cut into the segment here to where we want to give our respects to people that have fallen from being a first responder, from military, or, things of these great, you hear these stories, these great people going through and sacrificing themselves to protect others. To me, they're also heroes too. So we're going to go through and give just a quick, moment of silence for them. It's just our small way of saying thank you. All right, well, that's got the old throat dry already. It was a good long spiel like it always is. But Levi, let me tell you what, brother. Dude, I am excited about this because it is finally here. I know we're going to say the same thing for like when deer season finally shows up, but man, you've got me excited for turkey season. Today absolutely blew ass. We didn't get to go and we didn't get to take Kaylin out, but it is what it is, as they say.
It's March.
It's March, exactly. I mean, if anybody's kind of wondering what we're talking about here in West Central Illinois, I mean, shit, I woke up and I had half inch of snow in my backyard. And you were saying earlier, what was it, Moline?
Yeah, like Moline had like 6 inches.
That's insane, man. And I mean, it was shitty weather last year for us.
Yeah. Southern Illinois had flooding rains, I heard, all day yesterday. So pretty much from north to south, it was going to be a rough day for anybody.
Absolute trash all around, dude. That is awful. So instead of going out, so me and Levi joined together. We're going to put this one out for you. Kind of what we got going on, kind of what we're doing as far as when we go out, what we're going to take with us and things like that, kind of an informative ordeal. But before that, I'm going to kind of go through and do a little shout out to myself. So if you're listening to this, make sure you go through and go through and watch us on the old YouTube. We just put out a video of Levi and I taking out Kaylin last year. Kaylin had the nerves to get a hold of her, but it's by far one of the biggest hunts that I will never ever forget. There was so much going on. We didn't get it captured on video, which sucks, but it was an amazing event. And then, not going to brag, but I'm going to brag. Then I cut a bird's head off. 7 yards away, cut that sucker's head off. So make sure you go through and check that out. And then while you're there, go check out our other videos and things like that. All right, enough bragging about myself. So we're going to dive on into this. I'm going to turn this over to Levi. Levi's got something he's been working on, and he'd like to put it out there. And so I don't know what he is talking about. I just know that they're turkey calls, and that's all that I know about them.
We are going to venture out into some turkey mouth calls. Got the stuff to throw some calls together, and a few of us are going to run them this spring and hopefully have a lot of success with them. I mean, we've made about 6 different cuts so far. They sound really good. It's actually still tweaking some of them, getting ready for season here. But yeah, we're going to make them available to our listeners. If you're interested in them, please get a hold of us. We're probably going to have a limited run on them at the beginning, just kind of gauge an idea on, how hot they're going to be. And so, yeah, if you're interested, get a hold of us, and we'll get you the details on them and everything.
Yep, and then with that being said, you'll definitely want to go over and check out our Facebook page then. because we're going to go through and do our absolute best, because I'm very new still to the turkey game, and I don't know all the fancy names for them on who calls what a cut and who calls this a cut. So we'll go through and we'll do our best to actually show the cuts and stuff that are Levi's got cut here. And then, so then you can just go through and order, a number one, just like going to McDonald's. I need 2 number 3s, and things like this. And we'll also go through and do kind of, I guess you call them like a how-to video, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Levi,
how-to or tutorial, kind of how to tune them, how to use them, what calls to use when, and just kind of fill everybody in a little better on some of the things that are harder to find out there on the internet if you're new into turkey hunting or using a mouth call. And there's not a lot of info out there other than put it in your mouth and do this and it makes this sound.
Yeah, it's like we were talking earlier, because that's, like I said, I'm still new to this, still trying to get stuff figured out. And to me, it feels like there's a lot of like step 1, step 2, and then they jump to like step 6. Like there's nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
They kind of just say, put it in your mouth, you're looking for this, you're looking for that. And I mean, I flat out asked Levi earlier, I was like, dude, like, I think I got it figured out. I was like, but is there an up and a down to these? And he just looked at me, giggled, and he's like, yeah. So that's what we're going to try to go through, is try to, some more of the intermediate, very, very beginner, kind of style, what you're trying to get accomplished and things like that. I know some of the videos I was watching for, they kept saying, and then go through and get the oh my God, what did I say? The sound you're looking for.
Yeah.
And we want to go through and cover and show like this is the sound you're looking for, not just put it in your mouth and then just go through until you get the sound you're looking for. Well, to me, that's not helpful. So we're going to go through and do some of that. So, and then you were saying earlier that some of these cuts are for, like, very much so for beginners, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have kind of a wide range of array of calls. I mean, from beginner to expert,
right?
Whatever, if you're somebody that's knows what they like in a cut, you're going to be able to get on there and you're going to be able to order exactly what you want.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're not going to have every cut known to man out there, but we're going to have a lot of the ones for beginners and experts both.
I gotcha. Yeah. So that was going to be something I was going to, kind of go on to, is when we go through and going to sell these, there are going to be ones that are for more beginners, and then there's going to be ones that are more for your advanced person. We're definitely not saying that we are some high-end, top-notch,
We're not world champion turkey callers.
No, yeah, absolutely nothing like that. But if we can go through and get it to where, we can help you guys out, we're absolutely going to. So, well, I mean, we were talking earlier, like you were saying, like some of these cuts, it's like you have to go to like a specialized company, right?
Yeah, a lot of them you just don't see run of the mill every day from, your household names, I guess you would say, in the sporting goods stores.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are more of a specialty cut that, a lot of custom call makers and stuff like that use.
So when you're saying like specialty cut, you're talking about like the latex, right? Like I'm looking at these here and some of them look like snake tongues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of these bat fangs and bat wings, and yeah, there's just a little bit of everything in there, and a lot of them that you can't find, you might have to get online to order them through a custom call maker.
Mm-hmm. So if you do know what like Levi is talking about with like these special cuts and stuff like that, do you want to go through and say like you just said, these are, what'd you say, they're bat?
Yeah, this one here is a bat wing.
Like a bat wing? Okay.
Yeah.
So like if you want to go through maybe and just tell them like these are the more of like what you're talking about. So like so this bat wing that's sitting right here, is that something like you could just go to, your local whatever and buy one? Yeah,
they're becoming a more popular cut now. You start to see some of those more in stores. There's a few different variations of it, and that's the thing with a lot of these cuts is there's so many different variations. So you might be able to find, like this one here, this bat fang cut, you might be able to find it, run-of-the-mill sporting goods store. Mm-hmm. But like this one here, it's more of an advanced bat fang cut.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about is more of your custom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many different variations. Like this one here, it's not just a bat wing cut. It is actually a snubbed bat wing cut. So if you look closely, you can see there's not a sharp point on it. Now you can get that cut, and I can make that cut. But this one I've had better luck with, so we went with the stubbed version of it.
I gotcha. Okay. Which
So yeah, it's just little things like that. It, alters the sound. Easy use. Stuff like that too.
so there's definitely some of those too, to where when you say alter the sound, is that what, like the rasp and the cuts and the things like that?
Yeah, being able to hit different notes and a more raspy yelp, or a deeper, sharper cut, and all that good stuff.
I gotcha. Which makes complete sense to me. But like I said, I'm still rather new to the old turkey game here. Definitely not I wouldn't even say a mild turkey caller. So if you know what Levi's talking about here, I mean, even if it's one of those things to where I'm sure if like he was talking about, he trimmed the point off of one. So if there's something that you want, I mean, I'm sure Levi could do that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just reach out for us, reach out to us, and we will do our absolute best to go through and get it to you. So I know we looked a little bit earlier, and what were you saying? Like your basic kind of like Primos, Night and Hail, kind of what was their run of the mill price kind of?
Most of the run of the mill price on them anymore, from the retail standpoint, on those are $10 to $12 usually.
And then what are you thinking we should go through and sell ours for roughly?
I think we're going to start out at around 10.
Around 10.
So that's a really good deal for pretty much getting a custom call.
Right.
That most times is going to run you $12 to $14.
I gotcha.
So I think that's very fair.
And is that going to be like run of the mill across all of them? Or since you were saying some of them are custom, like if you do have to do a little bit more work in there?
I'll keep those the same for now, I think. But like kind of the beginner calls, we'll probably do those a little bit cheaper.
Right.
There's not as much detail in those.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll go through, and once me and Levi kind of get those hammered out on the prices and everything, we'll go through and put that on our Facebook page, and reach out to us. If you have any questions about them, can you do it this? Can you do it that? I mean, yeah, absolutely. Just reach out with us. So then also sitting on the table here in front of us is we got some ECW calls, which I'm excited to get into. Like I said, Jeff goes through and makes all this stuff by hand. So you definitely need to go through and check him out on Facebook, ECW Hunting Calls. And again, I'm very, very new to this, but I see he got us oh my goodness, my brain's freezing up, a slate call, correct?
Yep.
Correct. Oh man, knocking it out the park so far. So he's got us a slate call here, and it's got a double-sided on because I believe in the front is glass and the back is a slate call.
Yep.
So he goes through and makes all these and everything, and then the box that he goes through, and at least ones that he gave us, he hand makes the box and everything. So let's start talking about the slate call, and then we'll go through, and we got a double box call, and then we'll go through, since you got more of these mouth calls, and we'll go and talk about those kind of on where would be the good time to use what, when to use what, and everything like that. So we'll start it off with the slate call here. When would be, I guess, the best time or kind of ideal time do you want to go out and use like a slate call?
Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with just preference to the user. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. I know a lot of good turkey hunters that primarily just run a slate call, and if you can do that and be successful, that's the main thing. That's all that matters. I've noticed a lot of people over the years use them a lot first thing in the morning to make those softer sounds, of the soft clucks and the soft tree yelps and stuff that are otherwise, a little bit harder to make or more advanced to make on a mouth call.
And I've noticed that too, just by playing around with these, that it does seem like most definitely to me that like the slate call, it is a much softer, you're not really trying to reach out and pull one off the neighbors or something like this. So would that be something because I've dibble dabbled and played with them and stuff like this, and in my mind, I'm going through and I'm using this for, like you would like a soft grunt call, like you see a deer out there, like I kind of dibble dabbled with these, like I was saying, to where like if I saw a bird like on a fence, you can tell he's kind of like looking around to maybe like catch his attention. Is that something you would use something like that for?
Oh yeah,
Or,
they're good for just running and gunning, even just kind of getting out there and walking around, covering some ground, and a lot of them have different pitches you can make with them also, depending on the calling surface and the striker even. So you can get out there, maybe on a mid morning having trouble trying to strike a bird, switch to a slate call and get a little bit different pitch in there and a little bit higher pitch sound, and maybe get one fire off to you.
because that's definitely one of those things to where it's like you want to have as many kind of things in the old bag to show, or I'm sorry, to be able to use to get these birds' attention. Because I know last year we went, I mean, it was, you were getting irritated, you were trying different calls and this and this and that. So like it would be good to go through and get you a box call, get you a slate call, get you a couple mouth calls.
Yeah, definitely have everything at your disposal. You never know when you're going to need it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Sorry, my voice is going to straight shit. So give me one moment here. Because, yeah, like I was saying, I've used those before with that and everything. But I know there's a lot of people that don't really want to use those because, you're going out and then you got your hands full. Be it you're trying to do it archery, be it you're trying to do it a shotgun or something like this. So that's why, I was kind of a little, not excited, but looking forward to this double box call. Because it's kind of hands free, kind of not hands free. Because you can go through, and to me, it's you can set that on the ground, and it literally takes 2 fingers. I mean, you're not using both hands. You can keep your bow in your hand, you can keep your shotgun on your knee.
They're super easy to use. I mean, these push button yelpers have been around for a long time. They're super easy to use for beginners, and put out a pretty decent sound, and there's definitely been turkeys killed with them. And
I don't know, is a double box, like, is that kind of a newer thing, or has that been around for a while?
It's been around for a little while. Just kind of gives you that multiple turkey.
And that's why I was asking, because, like, I mean, dude, I can sit here and I can push a button, push another button, and when I do, and I mean, I'm sure you guys can hear this, but like this is just one side. Then he's the other side, which sounds similar but different. But I liked how if you like run them back and forth, I mean, it sounds like 2 of them are just right at each other.
Yeah, and you can purr on one and be yelping on the other, and you can do that too with say you're running a mouth call and a slate call, you can be yelping and basically alternating those yelps between your mouth call and your slate call at the same time, sound like 2 different hens yelping.
All right, that's I never thought about that, because I think of one piece of equipment, using one piece of equipment at a time. So, but yeah, go through, get a hold of Jeff. He makes big box calls, the double calls. He makes the slate calls. He makes all different types of turkeys calls. So make sure you go through one more time. ECW, go check them out. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty gritty of your mouth calls, because I know you said earlier that when you go, you carry like 3 or 4 with you.
Yeah, at least.
So I want to go over, and because when me and you were talking earlier, I think it's very important for us to kind of put out there with why you might use this one call, why you might use this other call, why you might use this other call. And then, even though I suck at it, would it be beneficial if it's something to where if you were running one and I was running one? I know I just kind of put a lot of things out there. So let's just kind of start at the beginning for a very basic person wanting to get into it. Kind of what kind of call out of what you made here would you kind of offer or suggest to the beginning person, and tell them kind of with what techniques like they might want to use this very basic, first time in the woods, wanting to get interested into it, what cut and what technique for using that would you suggest to somebody?
The easiest cut for them to learn on is going to be the single or double reed. Just no fancy cuts or anything, just a solid single or double reed. And basically just, get that call in your mouth as much as possible, practice with it, kind of get that sound of the yelp down, and the biggest thing I can tell a beginning turkey hunter or somebody getting into, mouth calls is Google or YouTube, what a hen turkey sounds like.
Like the actual bird.
Yeah.
Don't go through and look up Levi trying to sound like a turkey. Like you want to go through.
Yeah, because you're not going to learn anything from it.
But what I'm saying is you want to go through and actually look up, because people have videos of it out there. Go look for a yelping hen.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, and learn all those different calls that they make, and Google or YouTube every single one of those, and really get the timing down and the sound down and the pitch down on how those birds sound, when they're excited, when they're not as excited, all those things. Another good tip is watch some calling competitions. I mean, those are all put out on YouTube right now. And those guys can just straight up call. I mean, sometimes I think they sound better than a wild turkey themselves. So, beginning, definitely just start out with a single or double reed straight call and just kind of learn to get those sounds down, just kind of get the initial sound of, just making a sound on the call and then kind of start, breaking it over and kind of putting that yelp together.
And don't think that you're just going to go through, put this in your mouth, and in 3 days you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's a long process.
Because I know that I've been, we'll say tinkering around with, using mouth calls for probably 3 years now. And I went through and put one of these in my mouth and I asked Levi, I was like, hey, is this kind of what it is? And he looked at me like, like a good friend should, kind of gave me that little wince and was like, okay, but, kind of deal. So, yes, most definitely. Just don't think you're going to go through and put one of these in your mouth. You go through and with the YouTubes and the Googles and stuff like this, these people make it look just beyond super easy. Don't get frustrated. Go through. Keep working at it.
Practice as much as you can. Driving down the road. I drive down the road all the time yelping on them. Every free second I have, annoying the wife, annoying the kids. Yeah.
But with that, I mean, I'm sure it's just like anything but make sure that you're doing it correctly, right? Like don't build bad habits.
Right.
Really try to go through and focus on.
Try to get as much info, from whether it be instructional videos or, like we said, just what a turkey sounds like or watching the calling competition, stuff like that. Try to mimic what those guys do, especially in the calling competitions. I mean, that's a reason why they're there and they're world champions and stuff. I mean, they've got this stuff down to a science.
And again, we're going to go through and put out a how-to video and kind of a walk you through this and that, and we're going to go to a little bit more advanced, which is going to be our next step here. So if you went through after you said had your basic cut and stuff like this, what would somebody that had, let me ask this before we get too far into it. So with your basic cut and everything, you were saying just work on being able to do like what'd you say, a cluck and a...
Yeah, just try to work on doing a cluck or, a short sequence of cuts and yelps.
Cuts, okay.
Don't try to get, too fancy, just get the basics down.
Is that because the mouth call won't let you get fancy? Or is it just...
You can.
Or it's just not as easy?
It's just not as easy.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So then what would be your next cut that you might want to go through to be, I guess, a little bit more fancy? And with this all being said, I'm sure there's people that are going to be listening to this. Well, hopefully they're listening to this. And they're saying, dude, AJ, you are dumb. Because everybody knows this, everybody this and that. But I didn't realize this till me and you got talking, that people breathe differently through their mouth when they're trying to do this.
Yeah.
So that's also a reason why you might want to try.
Yeah, try a bunch of different cuts. Some people blow more air down the center of their mouth, some out the left, some out the right, and that's why a lot of these cuts are designed that way to help cater to that.
That's awesome. So we'll say for you, what would the next, beyond like your basic cut, what would be the next one for you that would work good for you to give you a little bit more of that rasp kind of, little bit, the next advanced up?
For me personally, I blow more air out of the center of my mouth, so I really like the bat fang cuts. But once you pretty much have the single or double reed down pat, honestly, you can, sky's the limits on it.
Really?
Yeah. It's from there, it's basically, finding out what's more comfortable for you, what's easier to blow, what sounds, best depending on what side of your mouth you're blowing the most air out of.
Is there a way to, because there's those quick tricks like finding out which your eye is dominant, put the hands out in front, the triangle and all that good stuff. Is there a way for you to go through other than just buying 3-4 different ones to find out which side like you breathe out on?
Unfortunately, no.
No? You're not helping.
It's kind of an expensive investment at first, but
Right.
It's one of those things that really has to be done through trial and error.
But it is, I guess you'd say, expensive up front, but they're forever, right? I'm sure they're.
Oh no, you'll wear them out quick.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it just because? Well, I guess that is kind of a dumb question. As soon as I said that, because I'm sure that latex probably stretches and
Yeah. And
twists and bends, and
then you've got all the germs and bacteria from your mouth, and days after days after day of running through the timber chasing birds and drinking pop and chewing tobacco and eating and everything else. Yeah.
Interesting.
They definitely have a hard life, but yeah, definitely try to keep them as clean as possible. Wash them out every now and then, kind of rub the latex real softly. Break some of that stuff loose. Make sure you just kind of lay them out on a paper towel to air dry. I don't know all the specifics on it because a lot of times I'm too busy chasing birds to do it myself. So,
Right.
But yeah, that's some of the little bit of the care tips I can think of, anyways.
So I just want to, in my brain, so after you go through and you get your basic cut, which what was that called again?
Just a plain single or double reed.
Just a plain single double reed. So then after that, there's no like step 2, like when you're saying like a bat wing or a double cut or anything like this. It's just kind of.
Honestly, I'd probably try to stay in a double reed situation. But you can kind of start branching out on your cuts from there.
I gotcha. Okay. Again, I don't know nothing about nothing, and that's why I ask questions. So no, that's good to know. So let's say that I did know what I was doing, and I could call, and you can call, because I know, at least for us, it seems like if you're going, I'm going. If I'm going, you're going. If Kaylin's going, I'm going, you're going. There's going to be a few of us. So is there any benefits to maybe having somebody else that can call with you, or maybe like if you are, behind the gun and I'm behind the camera, is there any benefits for me being able to call behind the camera instead of you with the gun?
Oh yeah. A lot of times you'll have birds that'll hang up. So, whether you're behind the camera or just got your buddy tagging along, calling for you behind you, always kind of drop him back a little bit behind you.
Okay.
So, whether it be 5-10 yards, that's going to make that hen sound 5 to 10 yards further away than the end of your gun barrel.
It's kind of like what they do with elk hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you've seen a lot of times on, especially with druries, I've seen it a lot. They'll get, coon dog or Terry or somebody will drop back and they'll get down in the creek bed. They might be set up by a creek bed, and they'll get down in the creek bed and they'll be marching up and down the creek calling.
No shit. I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, those turkeys can't see that movement, and it's further back than the hunter. They can hear that hen moving around back in there, and yeah, it's a deadly trick.
Oh my God, dude, we got to do that. Don't put me in a deep creek though. Actually, no, you'd have to do it because I can't call with a shit. So you're gonna have to be the one that goes in the creek bottom. But no, dude, that's awesome. Like that really just lit a light bulb in my brain. That really might be something we might have to do.
Yeah.
We go out and take Kaylin out or something. Or me, filming you. It just, yeah. I think that would be really, really interesting because I can already see it. Like, let's just, draw an easy map out here. Let's say birds coming north to south. So if we could put you, up halfway, like yours, or 10 yards in front of me, like you were saying, and then put the decoys to the east, and then put me kind of towards the east, and then literally
Draw them past.
just draw them past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I sat here and thought about this too. This might be kind of cool. Is if we go through birds up to the north, put me in the middle. How about that? And then have that bird maybe go by me, and then you blast his ass coming by. Oh yeah, I got the old camera brain running right there instead of me just sitting right next to you, and then having two people in one spot, or if we take Kalen, 3 people.
Right, helps
in one spot.
break up movement and everything too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it got the old camera brain going. And I don't even remember what the hell we were talking about before that. I think we were talking about techniques. Oh yeah, we were talking about techniques and stuff like that. So I went through and watched some videos. You've told me stuff, sent me stuff. So these mouth calls, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, it looks like some guys go through and they almost use them like a coyote.
Oh yeah.
Howl.
Yeah, you can howl on them.
Dude, I had no idea.
Yeah.
0 idea. Like, I literally watched the video on one, and I was like, dude, that dude's call's fucked. Like, I really didn't realize it. So with that being said, so they're not just for calling birds. Like, you can use them to locate and things like that in the evenings and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yep, you can howl on them. There's a lot of times I've even taken them out coyote hunting and shot a few coyotes.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh, had no idea. So since we're talking about locating birds, this I feel like I can kind of do because I just blow into a tube and it makes a noise. Any 2 cents, any tips and tricks on maybe to somebody, again, just starting off, on what to possibly do, what to try to possibly look for when they're going through and trying to locate birds? Because I know from meeting with you last year, we sat down, pinned a pad, came up with game plans and stuff like that. I 1,000% believe that the reason that I killed that bird was because you told me, look for that loner. And I found him and I killed him.
Yep.
So is there anything other, any other little quick, easy, like this is what you're kind of looking for, like tricks you'd kind of give? Because I got my 2 cents from after dealing with this, but we'll have you go first.
Yeah, it's just throw everything but the kitchen sink at them, honestly. I mean, we've had some pretty tough turkey seasons here the last couple of years where they're not gobbling a lot.
And you don't think that, I guess, quote unquote, educates them or anything?
No, I mean, for the most part, they're used to hearing coyotes howl. They're used to hearing owls hoot, crows calling, everything else. So I'll throw everything at them. If I can't get them to gobble with an owl hoot, I'll start howling at them. If I can't get them to do that, heck, I've even taken my goose calls, start honking at them like a pair, like a breeding pair coming in, landing on the creek. Sometimes that'll get them fired up. Yeah, you just never know. We were talking the other night, about actually honking the horn at them. I've had to do that. I had a bird, no joke, a couple years ago. He would only gobble at vehicles going down the road. He roosted super close to the road. The road goes up, makes a curve around this ridge, long story short. And he roosted like 100 yards off the road. Would not gobble at anything. So I was back there listening, and I just happened to call my dad, and I said, hey, where you at? And he said, well, I'm coming down the road right now. I said, you drive by and you honk that horn as soon as you get by where he normally roosts. So I was about half a mile away from the road, quarter mile away from the road. I could hear Dad's tires coming down the road. Man, he lays on the horn. That bird fired right off.
No shit.
Killed him the next morning.
So, I guess my first thought is if cars are driving by, they're not honking at that bird all the time, or were they?
No, but I'm sure, a deer ran out in front of somebody, they're going to honk and stuff like that. Just something they don't normally hear.
Okay.
Years back, I actually hunted a farm that was next to kind of a little bit of a hobby farm. They had goats and chickens and sheep and, all that good stuff running around. Little did I know until the first morning, because I didn't get a chance to scout it, so I just kind of went in there blind. But that first morning at daylight, I did not know that the neighbor had peacocks. Mm-hmm. If anybody's ever heard what a peacock sounds like,
I have heard about this, yes.
That had every bird in the countryside gobbling.
Oh, I can see it too because they're like almost like a screech.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I have heard that because forever ago when I was young, my neighbor had peacocks, and I would hear them screeching bastards out there, and they would trigger gobblers. Interesting. So, but it's funny when you brought up the goose thing. I don't know if you remember, I was out walking my property and stuff like this, and it was windier and shit that one day. And I sent you that Snapchat.
Yeah.
There was 2 geese down this bottom, man, and they were fucking with them turkeys. And I mean, I thought I could hear it, but like I said, it was real windy. And I look over, and it was like a cage match.
Yeah, they get territorial.
Yeah. So I think that's a very good thing too. Like you were saying, so shit, if you're going out, take your owl call, take your crow call, take your mouth call, try to screech like a coyote, and take your goose call, man. I mean, so it's not really necessarily the animal, it's just their territory, like you were saying. So I mean,
you're trying to get them to shock,
right.
to shock gobble. I've had birds that would shock gobble at thunder. You go out, as a thunderstorm's coming in, and it's rumbling to the west, and you got birds hammering just at the thunder.
Interesting.
Or I've had turkeys gobble at trains. They'll hear a train, whistle going through town, or by a crossing or something, and they'll gobble at that.
Man, that's cool. So if you're listening to this, go ahead and throw in your 2 cents to the old Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Let us know kind of the weirdest thing that you've had turkeys go through and shock gobble from, because I can only imagine, because all I'm seeing now is like, these people that are out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and this ain't working, and all of a sudden, they're out there with like 2 frying pans or something. They're just banging, clang, just trying to do anything they can to go through.
I haven't gone that far yet. I've thought about it, but it'd probably work.
So yeah, absolutely go through, get in touch with us with that. That'd be very, very interesting. So yeah, I mean, I don't, I just 100%. So, okay. So I think we got kind of the calls part out with kind of what we're doing and things like that. So let's go into with what we're going to be taking when we go in. So we'll just use a scenario that you and I both are going together. So go through and tell me with what you are taking to the woods with you to go kill you a bird.
Pretty much same thing every year. I've got my gloves, I've got my face mask, I've got my 3, 4, 5 mouth calls I'm most confident in. I got a couple of slate calls I'm packing. I got my box call I'm packing, and ammo.
Mm-hmm. So I know we talked about this a little bit. So your mouth calls, you're taking those because you were saying earlier, they cut different, they do this like that. So that's why you're taking different ones of those, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same reason like you're taking like different slate calls and stuff like this.
Yep. Different tones, different pitches.
Is you just kind of go off of your gut, or like how are you kind of figuring out which ones to use, or do you use all of them and see like how the birds are answering back?
Basically, I've got my go-tos, and if those aren't working, then that's when I start switching it up.
I gotcha, which completely makes sense. So on my side, if I'm going through and filming Levi, which I'm not taking my gun or my bow or anything like that with me. But I feel, there's probably some people out here that want to know when we go through and doing some filming on what we're bringing. So that's what I'm going to bring to you now is we're going through. I've noticed that through turkey season and stuff like this, with your cameras and your tripods and your stuff like this, the birds really aren't too finicky about those. I think those you can kind of blend in really well. I'll be taking 3 GoPros and my filming camera. But I would suggest if you're going through and you're going to use a filming camera, make sure you go through and get one where you can control with like your thumb. The zoom in, the zoom out, things like this makes a huge difference. Get you a good solid mic on there, because if I'm going through and I'm filming Levi and we got all this chaos going on, I don't have time to go through and poke him and say, hey, turn your mic on. And he's not going to sit there and think, hey, turn my mic on, and we're running batteries to the absolute, dead, and then we're hoping we get it. So make sure you get a good mic that you can go through and put on your camera. And then, just wearing basic camo and stuff like this. And I'm not even bringing my calls because I suck. So Levi's going to do all that.
Well, then definitely make sure you invest in a good vest or turkey lounge or something like that, because you want to be comfortable.
Right. Because we could be sitting there for a good while. Because last year, I mean, I don't even know how long we sat.
It was probably a good 2 hours.
Yeah, sitting there trying to get stuff figured out. So, but if you've listened to it this far, we got a little something for you guys. But you're gonna have to listen to the next episode. But when the next episode comes out, you can probably go through and figure it out. And we're gonna have a little code on there. But you're gonna have to listen to the whole episode because it's on the end of there. But I will tell you this: it will most definitely be something that will benefit you in the turkey woods, and it'll benefit you, also in the deer woods and doing anything else. So make sure you go through, listen to all of the next one we got coming out. I can't remember what date that is, but it'd be, a week after this one comes out. And make sure you listen to all that one, and we got something coming for you. So make sure you tune into that one too. Most definitely. That's something that we're going to be taking out that I am very, very excited about.
For sure.
And I wish I could talk more about it now. But like I said, it will 110% be, it's not going to hurt you. We'll just put it that way. Nothing's perfect, but it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So, man, and you were sitting there talking about things to bring too that I was trying to sit here and think about.
Oh, decoys.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Don't want to leave your decoys.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, funny enough, because I got these other calls sitting out in front of me, and I was going to bring my decoys and set them out because I knew I was going to forget, and I forgot. I know we've talked about this before, and I'm a true believer. You got me into this one too. Do not skimp on your decoys.
No, you can't nowadays. I mean, they're just getting too smart.
Yeah, and I've kind of thought about this too. To me, you go through and you get these ones that are cheaper, and they, you can fold them up, compact them, and do all this stuff, which is great and grand. If it works for you, it absolutely works for you. Go through, keep killing birds, do what you can do. But for me, I'm sitting here and thinking, I kind of going back to when we had, oh my God, Aaron on, and he said that whole, buy once, cry once. I would say most definitely for turkey decoys, buy once, cry once.
Yeah.
And we both used those Avian X's, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The HDRs, right?
Yes.
I think
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Those suckers, and my wife even said the same thing, like after I killed my bird and put it next to the decoys. Dude, that color is almost perfection.
Yeah, it's on point.
It is absolutely on point. And I would say go through, if you're going to go through and do this, like I said, one more time, buy once, cry once, go with the harder body ones, HDR ones, and things like that. I mean, you can pound the piss out of those things. I mean,
Yeah, they're a little more cumbersome to carry in and out, but honestly, all the years I've been doing this, I've had decoys that collapse, fold up, put in your vest, run and gun with them, and you get set up and you got a dent in it.
Yep, exactly.
So you're sitting there wasting time trying to, pry at it with the stake and get it to pop out, and it still won't pop out and take shape. Yeah, they've killed birds. They'll probably still continue to kill birds, but yeah, I mean, you just can't beat these new ones.
No. So, Avian X, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, and you can go ahead and get a hold of Levi and I, and we'd be more than happy to work out some deal with you to have you be a sponsor of our show. But with that being said, I do have one question speaking of the decoys. So I'm planning on doing the archery side again this year with those FX4s, Rec Broadheads, badass. Go check them out. Are you going to archery it or are you going to shotgun it?
Probably time-wise, probably shotgun it.
That's kind of what I figured. So that's why I was going to ask you this one. So have you ever caught one of your decoys with some BBs?
Oh, yeah.
From the old shotgun? Like, do they stand up to them pretty well?
Oh, yeah. Hell, last year, Caitlin hit that one with some BBs.
Yeah. She definitely got a bird. It just wasn't the one we were going for.
But, yeah, hell, these new hard bodies, it doesn't do anything to them.
Which, if you had one of those soft bodies, I'm sure that would not help the cause at all.
No.
Because you got to blow those up, don't you?
Or like the Gen 1 Avian X. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was basically kind of like dodgeball material. And, yeah, they just couldn't handle it. But once they went to this hard body, they're pretty much indestructible.
Mm-hmm. Which, like you said, they are cumbersome and stuff. But, man, I'm a true believer with it. And I know I've brought this up before. on one, but I can't even remember what I washed it from. But I don't know if you do this, but dude, I've looked it up and I found out, and I really think this has helped, is go through and paint the eyeballs on these things.
Yeah.
Get you some super glossy nail polish, dab it on there. And I mean, I was kind of skeptical, but then like after you do it and you look at it, you're like, dude, that thing, you can see reflection and you can see like a water kind of to it. But I really feel, especially when my bird came in, man, it was, dude, I mean, you could just see it just locked on.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like anything, you know, like us when we're fighting, or deer when they're fighting, you know, they're locking eyes on their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's no different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And another good tip too with your decoys: keep them clean. You know, the waterfowl guys, they know what we're talking about. Have you ever seen a, you know, mud covered goose?
Yeah.
Mud covered turkey?
Nope.
No. Keep those decoys clean.
Mm-hmm. Is there any just soap and water?
Yeah.
I mean, just
soap and water.
Anything fancy with it? No. So, with that being said, that also, man, you talk and my brain just keeps running. So I know we talked a little bit earlier when we were talking about calls and stuff like this and decoys and things like this. I know last year we were talking kind of like what decoys to take, what trying to figure out and things like this. I know for me, definitely 110%, what made the difference on mine. So I want to say the first couple times me and you went, I think you just took a hen or just took a Jake. I know we just used one bird.
Yeah, it would have just been a hen then.
Okay, I knew that because when me and you were talking, because I took the one bird the one time we went, and that sucker hung up probably 20 yards. And I went through and threw out. I think I did. Yeah, I think I just took the hen the first time, and then I took the Jake. So, with that being said, with these decoys, I would suggest you go through and get you a Jake and a hen. I mean,
absolutely.
Don't just try to go through and guess that you're going to need one or the other, because
right.
I mean, I 110% saw the difference of going through me. I mean, you got birds, but dude, you worked your ass off last year for them.
Yeah.
And to me, I didn't work my ass off for them, but I tried to figure something out the next day, and it was to put out that Jake. So
right.
that could be the difference.
Every day's different, and what I like to tell people is, you know, for sure at the beginning of the season, 100% start out with a Jake and a hen, or even a Jake and a hen and a strutter, or a couple of hens and a Jake, or a couple of hens and a strutter. The birds are more grouped up still. They're still kind of, you know, on their winter pattern, just starting to break up a little bit, you know, but you've got more birds that are still running.
So you're talking like youth season to maybe second season?
Ish. Youth and first season primarily. Okay. After that, you've got a lot of fighting for dominance going on. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of the 2-year-olds are getting their butts whipped. Some of the older birds are even getting their butts whipped. If you got, you know, a big posse of Jakes running around on your property, you know, those Jakes will bully some of those older birds. So what I like to do is I like to kind of just gauge the temperature on how the season's going, you know, with, you know, having a Jake and a hen out, or having, you know, a lot of times you can pretty much guarantee towards the end of the season that those birds have been whipped up on enough that they're looking for that easy piece of tail.
I gotcha.
So, you know, come 4th, 5th season, I'm definitely 90% of the time running just a hen.
Just a hen.
Yeah.
And I see they got all these different types. And, which going with these HDR ones we got, I know the hen for sure. And I want to say the Jake too. You can switch heads on both of them?
Yeah, you can switch heads.
Yeah. So I'd definitely say if you're going through and checking them out, I mean, I would look for those, because you're kind of getting 4 birds for 2.
Yeah, you're changing the body posture of them a little bit.
Right, and then because one's more like submissive and one's more
one's more submissive and one's more upright.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're going to go through, take our 2 cents, go through, at least check them out. So then, with all that being said, and I love how I just keep repeating myself and using the same words over and over. So, taking me in from that, we talked earlier about calling and things like that. So, you were saying before we got this going about maybe not necessarily trying to call for a tom sometimes, because you might want to call for a hen.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a henned up gobbler,
right?
I mean, she will not let him go anywhere. He doesn't want to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. He just wants to go with her.
try to call that hen.
And you were saying just go through and almost just try to 100% mimic what she's doing.
Yep, mimic what she's doing. Every sound she's making, make it exactly the same right back.
Right. And like when we were talking earlier, to me, I mean, that 100% sounds like how a female bar fight starts.
Exactly.
You know, you get this one going by and one looks at one and says, do you have a problem? And then the other one says, do you have a problem?
Let the trash talking start.
And then they keep going back and forth. And then who tries to intervene and be in the middle of it? The boyfriend, husband, whoever.
Yep.
The fellas.
Yep.
So I think that's good to note too, is, you know, to not, I guess, get discouraged if you're not getting gobbles.
Yeah.
So if you are getting, you know, a hen, I want to say clucking, yelping back at you, yelp back at her and try to, I guess, piss her off essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you're wanting to do. And I mean, that bird might be hot. You might think he's hot. You know, he's gobbling his head off at every sound you're making, but just because she's right there, he ain't going nowhere. And
which we kind of got a little bit of that last year too.
Yeah.
I mean, the few times they were firing off, and then off in the distance you'd hear that like way out there.
Yep.
And sure as shit, that's where they would go.
Yep.
So, man, well, as usual, we covered a bunch of topics. I know, like I said, I'm going to say it again. We're going to come out with a how-to video, get kind of, you know, maybe some more like bringing it down, more getting into it. Then we'll jump into one getting more kind of advanced, you know, what to do, what not to do, or what to do, what to look for, what to kind of maybe change up. I think maybe we can even go through and do maybe a little video on like if me and you were going, like maybe how we would set up.
Yeah.
You know, I think that might be kind of beneficial to kind of get more of a hands-on instead of you just sitting here putting a call in your mouth and being into it. Like I said, camera brain's running, so that's all.
Yeah, we can go through like a full setup, you know, on how we would hunt, how we would film. You know, there's a lot of different, you know, strategies decoy wise. You know, how far to put the decoys and.
Oh man, that's something else we didn't even cover that we could go on for, you know, another 5-10 minutes about. Well, we'll have to do another one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're going to go through and do that. Make sure you go through, check out Facebook, get a hold of us. Like Levi said, we're just going to do a limited number of them, but we will do our absolute best to get them sent out to you. And if you do go through and get one, you know, please give us feedback on them. Tell us, you know, how, you know, if they're working great, if, you know, if you have a question on like, because Levi was telling me earlier, you can go through and trim these things to fit your mouth better. You know, or if it's, you know, like I said, if you want a different kind of cut, a specialty cut, or, you know, anything in general, go ahead and reach out with us. We will most definitely, you know, get back at you with everything like that. And I know I said it once, but if you were listening to it this far, you're going to have to listen to the next episode one more time, probably about this far into it. And we got something coming for you guys. It is most definitely not going to hurt you, but me and Levi we're jacked up, ready to go out and go through and get those done. Man, we always cover so much, and I feel that we still didn't get enough. Yeah, exactly. So, but if you're listening to this and you're going out and you're chasing birds, man, hoping nothing but the best for you. Absolutely, 100% good luck. Show us what you guys got and everything like that. I think I'm good. Are you good?
Yeah, send us success pictures. We'll share them.
Yes, absolutely. We want to see those. Absolutely love it. Also, if you guys can't tell, dude, we're turkey heads. I mean, big time on the brain all the time. And I don't think, especially around here, like many people really get into it. And I know for a fact, at least the ones that I found, there's not a lot of podcasts that go through and talk really much about turkey hunting.
Yeah, not really.
So, you know, once again, share this with your friends, you know, especially if they are turkey hunters. Keep saying turkey hunters, you know, and let us know. We want feedback. We want to talk. We want to interact with you guys. Send us recipes, man. I want to, send us your mounts, send us all this stuff. We're definitely 100% interested in it. So, well, we're getting to that point. So we're going to say our goodbyes, 110%, you know, give us feedback, send us those pictures and all that good stuff. And we will catch you on the next one.